Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us. It is a gorgeous Wednesday, a great day to be alive in Charlottesville, Virginia. Today's guest, Ann Dunn, the formula director and founder. She's fabulous. I have heard her name literally from a handful of people in my ecosystem, including yesterday, as doing big-time things in our community. I'm excited to spotlight her journey in Charlottesville as an evangelist and ambassador for our community, and also her journey as an entrepreneur in the fitness ecosystem in Charlottesville. One thing I will say, as someone who is very focused on fitness and sports and working out himself, this is a great community to live in if you have that mindset. We are going to welcome her to the show in T-minus 30 seconds. Before we do, let's give you a little snapshot about ourselves and some of our clients. We are an advertising agency at I Love CVille and VMV Brands. We have, just like Ann, made our profession our passion. I feel like I don't work a day in my life. Now, some days are better than others, but for the most part, I just love what I do and love working alongside small business owners. 113 clients as of this morning up and down the Eastern Seaboard. Two of our favorites, Interstate Pest and Service Companies and Dr. Scott Wagner of Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Any branding or marketing or commercials or social or video or photo that you see interfacing in the marketplace originates on the first and second floors of the Mackler building, our building, with our team. They're just great. Interstate started in 1969 with the first generation of this locally owned business. And in 1969, one man, Mr. Robert Wells, used his personal truck and payphones in Charlottesville to build a business. And get this, guys, today Interstate has almost 100 team members, 4 generations of family running the company, and a Commonwealth-wide working footprint. It's just beautiful. Scott Wagner also doing big-time things, sports medicine, physical therapy, chiropractic care. Dr. Wagner, we love you. Thank you for being a part of the show. Now, before we welcome Ann Dunn to the program, I will encourage you to like and share the show and give Ann some props in the feed. If you have questions or comments or, kind of like words of encouragement, type it in the comment section of any of the 12 Facebook pages you're watching this show on, and I'm going to pass it along to Ann herself. Judah Wickhauer, our director, studio camera, please. Ann, how are you? Thank you for coming.
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. Same question for all our guests to start. What are you all about? What makes you tick? Your passions, your hobbies, and your interests.
Awesome. I guess in a nutshell, I'm the owner of Formula, which you already said, but I love working out and I love running. I grew up doing sports of all different kinds, and I just happened to be probably the best at running, so I ran collegiately.
Nice.
And then post-collegiately before getting into coaching at a pretty young age. So I've been doing that my whole life, basically, and this studio is just kind of a new and different venue of doing that. So.
Very cool. Sports you grew up playing. I grew up playing sports too.
Yeah. Basketball was probably my favorite.
Okay, so let me guess.
Yeah.
You were kind of like, you were a guard with some athleticism. You were quick. You had some handles, a great team player. You like to get everybody involved. Tremendous work ethic, very coachable. Love being a part of the group. Was that good?
Yeah. All those things. You nailed it.
Okay, so basketball, what else you got?
I played soccer as well.
Nice.
That was probably the first sport I got into. I played softball, and I actually figure skated.
Wow.
For a couple of years, too.
How about the value, we talk about this a lot, the value of team sports and how it applies to like life long term. So important.
Yeah, totally. I feel like I've learned most of my important life lessons playing sports, and just how to win, how to lose, and how to get back up when things don't go your way. So I think everybody, and it's so great to see women especially getting more involved with sports at a young age. So I think it's one of the best things you can do.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Lodi, Wisconsin.
Get out!
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Small town, about 2,000 people,
Okay.
and it was great for me. I loved it. It did give me the opportunity to do all those different things, and our high school was about 500 people total. So the other thing that it allowed us to do was you couldn't just be an athlete. You also, we had band, we had show choir, and so the fun thing was to get those things moving. You could do all of those things. So I was in choir, I was in band growing up, which I think I just had a lot of fun doing all of those different things.
So you're saying I can put you on the spot to sing a solo here
Dear
on the
Lord,
show?
no, you do not want that.
Okay, all right.
You do not want that.
I won't
do not
go
want
down
that
that
at all.
road. So how does a Wisconsin gal get to the Commonwealth of Virginia?
Well, my husband
Uh-huh.
is Jason Dunn, and he is the assistant track and cross country
Sure.
coach at UVA right now.
Yeah.
And he used to coach here from 2000 to 2008.
Okay.
So his mom lives here, and we just found a way to make our way back to Charlottesville. We wanted to live here and just try to figure things out. So that's why we're here.
Did you feel like, I asked this question to our guests, did you feel like Charlottesville got its hooks in you? Like people have this kind of reaction to Charlottesville when they move here. My wife had this reaction as well. Either the hooks get in you right away and you're like, this place is awesome, this place is great, or it's the alternative because it's like people that have been here for so long that it's kind of hard to like break down the walls and make friends quickly. What was it like for you?
Well, I had visited a number of times through coaching, so I had been here, and I knew I loved it. A lot to do, a lot of history here, and so I knew I'd liked it. And I love the size of Charlottesville. So when we were deciding where we were going to move to, this was definitely high up on the list. Jason suggests I come and check it out on my own, and I was like, I know I'm going to love it. So I love the size. I love, as you said, I feel like Charlottesville is a big city nestled in like a small town. Like it thinks it's this big city, but it's so you can go around, you can have relationships, you know people, but there's also a lot to do, which is great.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
So how about this? How is it being the better half tied to a coach? Coaching life could be potentially lonely. A lot of travel, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's that like?
It works for us.
Yeah.
I want Jason to do something that he's passionate about,
Nice.
and we're used to seeing each other a lot. So there is some travel, but it could be worse at other schools. So the travel isn't bad, and I do enjoy my alone time as well. So it works out just fine. Yeah.
James Watson, welcome to the program. Amanda Traplowski's watching. Aaron King at Feast is watching right now. Folks in Crozet and Richmond, all over Charlottesville watching right now. See Wisconsin in the house. What's up, Wisconsin? Thank you for joining us on the program. If you have a message you'd like to relay to Ann, just put it in the comments box and I'll pass it along to her, or give it a like and a share and I'll pass that along. All right, so let's talk about your evolution as a businesswoman. I ask this question a lot. Are you an entrepreneur first? Are you, someone who's passionate about fitness first? Was the business side difficult to pick up? Or was it like the necessary evil that you had to do to run a business?
So I'm definitely not an entrepreneur or business person first. The passion was definitely in fitness and in coaching people and working with people. And what I found is, at least what I think is one of the most important business skills, is developing relationships with people. So I totally admit I'm not a great business person and still learning, but I do feel like relationships come first, and if you can form solid connections with people and help them, that's the best business. So that's kind of what I focused on, and it's been working out pretty well.
When you decided to open your own business, Formula, what was going through your mind? Our business is 12 years old in May. Opened the business as a single guy. Okay, so I had no dependents. Not like now where I have a wife, I have a little boy, and everything that happens on these first two floors is like determining how we live, pay the mortgage, eat. So there was a lot less pressure for me, but I still felt that pressure like big time. Like you, I probably, I want to be the best version of myself every day. I'm hyper competitive, like beyond competitive. and that's a strength, also a weakness. For you, walk me through the mindset, like the vulnerability, the fear, the loneliness, the rush, the adrenaline of, I'm going to open a business in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Yeah. Well,
were you scared?
Definitely. Maybe not as scared before, because I'm a very confident person, and I felt that there was a market for what we do in Charlottesville. Then after we opened, it was sort of like, wait, where are all the people? Why aren't they coming in for a free class? So it kind of hit me after we opened that there's a lot more to it that I didn't know. But just kind of took some time and patience and persistence, and kind of made it out of there. So yeah, it was, I would say, a little bit more stressful right after we opened, and realizing that the people weren't just going to come. You had to kind of think creatively and do a lot of, for us it was guerrilla marketing. So
talk to me about that advertising agency here. I'd love to learn about what strategies were effective.
Well,
certainly word of mouth.
Word of mouth. I mean, again, just I hate to be so simple, but developing relationships and just letting the good work that you do just spread out through the people. So making our loyal clients even more happy with their experience. So starting there, but also, I mean, I've been very consistent with social media, and just tried to keep that going, tried to go into places and like the juice laundry, for example, just camp out there and hand out free class cards.
Nice.
And yeah, just stuff like that. So a lot of connections in the community.
Daniel Al, giving you some props right now. Thank you for watching the program, Daniel. Any comments you want to relay? And I will get to these comments. Tanji Soroye, one time you'd be a basketball player watching. Bobby Castine, Stacy Brookman, Mark Wogman, Chris Jensen. A lot of folks right now. How about this question? So I talk often on the show about competitive categories in Charlottesville. I think the two most competitive business categories in Charlottesville are restaurants and real estate agents. Very saturated market. Maybe right there in the top 10 is opportunities to work out, pursue goals for fitness, and to exercise. There are a lot of options here. What was going through your mind when you launched your business of like, what's going to differentiate Formula from the other choices out there?
Well, so the concept of our studio is to combine cardiovascular training with strength training. So when we were in the early stages, I didn't see anything like that, especially with treadmills when we thought about opening up. So in that, I thought the market was wide open. Now, a lot of people were telling me that the fitness market is saturated, and there are a lot of fitness studios, a lot of gyms. But what I saw, for someone like me, there was nothing here like what we have. So I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes,
yeah,
that makes sense. How about picking a location?
Yeah,
such an important aspect, right?
Very, very important. That was kind of step 2. Is we're going to do it if it makes sense and if we have the location. And we found a couple spots along Preston Avenue. We knew we wanted to be
in the heart,
kind of in the heart, but also a place where people could park easily or somewhat easily. So we ended up finding a spot right behind Shenandoah Joe's Coffee, which all runners know where that spot is pretty much, or they could find it easily. So it isn't visible from Preston, but it's a very easily located spot, and the parking is pretty good. We have parking all around the building, and then the side streets are pretty much open all the time. So for those two things, and for us starting out, it was the rent was reasonable, so it just all made sense to do it. And the space is perfect for us. For our studio, we need a certain rectangular space, and that just happened to be that space in the back of that building. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Was there a time where like you're opening, and you kind of touched on this already, you're opening, and like I remember when I started my business almost 12 years ago, my parents at the time and my best friends, they literally met me at my place and had an intervention. And they said, like, do not do this. Do not open this company here. I was doing sports radio and sports TV and writing for the newspaper and had a website, doing really well. I'm like, you know what? I had this, like, bug in me that, like, I have to do this. You know, like, I wanted to be, like, the shot caller. And I wanted to have the pressure. And I also wanted to have, like, reap the rewards of the hard work that I was putting in. And I wasn't at the time. So I'm going to throw it to you. You mentioned when you opened, you were like, all right, we're here. The doors are open. Where are the peeps? Where are they coming here? What was that feeling like? And then from there, I'm going to ask you about an aha moment where, like, the peeps start coming in, and you're like, this is going to work. But first the trials, if you may.
The trials. So,
give me, like, firsthand perspective.
yeah, I mean, we did have kind of a base of people, albeit it was pretty small when we opened. Before we opened, we started a run club at Random Row Brewery, and
Nice.
we met people and formed some connections there.
Running and drinking beer.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
I love that.
So we call it Beer Boot Camp, and they still do runs. It's moved to Thursday nights at Random Row, but and then I was a personal trainer at ACAC before
Nice.
before going over. So we had formed some connections, and obviously Jason being here before, we had some sort of group that was pretty solid before we opened, but it was pretty small when then you go and you have 6 classes a day on the schedule. It's
Right.
like
Rent due on the first.
Our 40 friends, really only could fill up so many of those spots. But we kept plugging away. I just had to cancel a lot of classes in the early stages, and I think those first 3 months there were a lot of classes that were like 2 people, 3 people, 1 person would get their own private class. But we just kept going, and the people kept coming back, and we slowly just kept getting more people. So I wouldn't say there was ever an aha moment, because it has been so steady from when we opened. And I wouldn't say there was ever a point where I was like, oh, here are the people, they came. It's just been like brick by brick. But now we just keep having like our best week ever, our best day ever. So I feel like the growth has been steady, but like very solid and almost permanent, which is really good. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So.
Mark Hengartner is giving you some props right now. Give it a like and a share. I got some comments coming in. Tim, I'm going to get to your comment in Crozet. He's got a comment about technology and how technology is going to impact the fitness world, specifically the chance of doing workouts from home. I think that's a good question. Before we get to these comments, guys, I want to throw this question to you. How did you see yourself personally evolve? So, like, the fitness and the teaching probably was always easy because those were your passions. When did you start seeing, like, all right, I'm going to have to be the social media marketer? I'm going to have to be passing out free classes at the Juice Laundry. I'm going to have to do payroll and like bookkeeping and like projecting financials, which is kind of miserable. Let's be honest. Like, when you started like getting into the nitty gritty, were you like, okay, I got to learn this, or did you just like pick it up?
Yeah, it was. I think all of those things I had kind of, I knew it was going to be a part of it, and I did pick it up relatively easily. That stuff wasn't too challenging. I think for me, evolving as a business person the biggest thing I've learned is to appreciate, but also to just keep pushing, be persistent, and finding the balance between those two. Because very early on, it was easy to maybe be a little deflated when classes are small or they're not where you want them to be. And so being able to kind of center yourself and say, like, hey, there are 3 people in this class, but I'm going to give them the best 110%. Service ever.
Yeah.
So when I was able to kind of shift perspectives like that, then everything just became a lot easier.
Joseph Villa giving you some props. I see David Johnson watching. What's up, David? That dude is shredded. That guy is an absolute beast. David, welcome to the program. So how about the question on technology? It's a good one. We see, I cannot turn on the television without seeing an ad for Peloton.
Yep.
I mean, it is everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm also seeing the ad for, it's almost like a mirror that you hang on the wall, and it's like then you can turn it on, and then it's like an instructor working with you in front of the mirror. I'm going to go ahead and say this as someone who, like you, grew up playing team sports. I love being around people in like a group.
Yeah.
And like competing against others.
Yeah.
You know, like having like the people next to me like pushing me to be better. Technology and what you do and how it's going to potentially impact the space. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a very real thing. I've had several clients tell me they have a Peloton and, you know, maybe that's why they're not coming in. So I totally recognize it. I agree with you. I think there will always be a place for community and people getting together. I think certain times in life, you know, like whether it's a busy mom or just a busy life, the Peloton is great because of those circumstances that you need to be home and that's your only option.
It's convenient.
Yeah. So, but I do think there will always be a place, and people do come to us because it's a community, and you are getting great support. You're seeing your friends, which makes it fun. So I recognize it's there, but I'm not worried about it. So
Charlottesville as a fitness community in totality, what have you seen? You've seen this from a lot of different sides.
Yeah.
What have you seen?
There's just a lot of great studios and great gyms, great options for people. So I think people are lucky that live here.
I totally agree. Colleen Rock, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us. How about this question? What do you want to see with Formula? I mean, you have so many people that are like loyal evangelists. You're obviously a very goal-oriented person. Like, what kind of goals do you have for the business and the brand? Like, say, 3 and 5, 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5.
I would love to continue to expand our classes, our class offerings. That would be number one. Just getting more people in the door, because I do feel like there's a lot of people in Charlottesville that just don't know about us yet and don't know about the workout, or they're maybe a little bit intimidated. But I do say when they come in, we do a good job of disarming people, and they feel safe and they want to come back. So I would like to see us expanding the number of classes that we offer, and 3 years, I guess, just continuing to expand our classes, but also our services. I'd like to get a little bit more into run coaching, and
that's cool.
And have people, trainers and coaches lined up to expand that service too.
Cool. I mean, I think what you are doing is so important. So we had Laura Van Camp. I think I'm saying her name. It might be Lauren Van Camp. She's the owner of Gene Theory. Okay. And she was mentioning to us how, like, with her business, jeans, like a nice pair of denim, is not just like a pair of pants that you wear. But Laura Van Camp, she's the founder of Gene Theory on Water Street. She said, we're like selling confidence. And like we're selling, like, when you put on a good pair of jeans, you feel good about yourself when you're looking in the mirror. And like when you feel good about yourself, like other aspects of life are a little bit easier. Because I think us as people, and I'm just talking in general terms here, if we don't feel good about ourselves, then like that's like going to have a snowball effect in other aspects of our life. So I think with you, it's so similar. Like you guys are not only selling like, you know, community, but you're selling like feeling good about yourself, living a longer, healthier life to be around your friends and your loved ones. I mean, it's so important, like what you do. Do you look at the business from that way? Well, like, what's your perspective? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, one thing I love about Formula is the diversity that we get in our classes. And for instance, we have our first client to get to 100 classes, 74 years old.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
What's that person like?
He's awesome. He's an attorney in town.
Yeah. Sounds like a beast.
Tough guy. He is. And he has arthritis in both of his knees. So that to me is very, very touching and very rewarding. That I feel like when we opened, there was some talk like, oh, they only like to work with the very fast people. And that's not true, because I see with someone like this gentleman that I'm talking about, he couldn't run outside because it was too painful, but he can come in and take 4 or 5 classes a week and get a really good workout. And especially for someone that's aging, our workout is great because you're getting the strength work and you're getting the VO2 max, the two things.
What's that mean?
VO2 max is basically the amount of oxygen that you consume when you're exercising. Okay. So the more oxygen you consume, the harder you're working.
Gotcha.
So we focus on high intensity interval training. So we have intervals that will increase your heart rate and that oxygen consumption. But that's what goes down as you start to age. So those two things, I find the strength training and interval training are the hardest for people to do on their own. So runners, they might go outside and run easy on their own, but doing intervals on your own is sort of a different thing.
Totally.
Same thing with strength training. A lot of people, they know they should do it, but unless someone's telling them to do it, they won't do it. So
give us another, in advertising, it's called a POP, a proof of performance. So you just gave us a POP there with the 74-year-old. Sure. Mm-hmm. Give us another one. I love the firsthand perspective stories.
Well, so can I use names?
You can do whatever we have no rules here.
So, okay.
Yeah, literally no rules
I guess
here.
Tim Johnson and Sherry Johnson are a couple other VIP clients. Okay. Tim will be our first client probably to 500 classes, wow. Which is saying a lot.
That's legit.
He's had some really good PRs in his time since he started Formula in his road races, but also he just feels better. He's been healthy, consistent for a long period of time. When he wasn't coming into Formula, it was kind of all these nagging injuries. So he started, and his wife did not come to Formula when he started, and it was sort of this. It took her a while to come over, but she started coming to Formula last year in April, I think, and she just hit 100 classes.
Nice.
But she's been having some huge PRs in her road races, and she feels really good. So I think that's a really fun story of people that I didn't necessarily think I was ever going to see Sherry in the studio, but she came in, and I'm so glad she did, because she's kicking butt in all of her races right now.
Dana Teal is giving you props. Yeah. Ruth Schulman giving you props. Joseph Villa, Tim Collier liking what they're watching right now. Jeff Early watching the program. But it's not just about your business in Formula. It is not just about, say, a competitive road racer. Mm-hmm. It could be like, a dad that's trying to get into shape. A mom that's, right off of pregnancy, that's looking to get back into shape. It could be like, tell me about that.
Yeah, I guess another client I'm thinking of is Laurie, and Laurie is another one of our success stories. If you go to our website, we have a bunch of success stories, but Laurie sticks out because she came to me, maybe it was a little over a year ago. Yeah, it was in December, and she, I met her in the lobby, and she was in PT for several months, maybe even years, and she had sort of given up on the idea of ever running again, because when she ran, it was so painful. And I said, well, I'll be happy to work with you, take a look, see what we can see, and kind of help you try to ease into running gradually. And she not only did that, but she ended up running a marathon last year. So someone that literally, when we met, was kind of tearing up thinking she couldn't run, eventually ended up running a marathon. And in her case, she didn't necessarily she just needed to do more, not less. So we really focused on strength training, and that helped her body feel better. We were very smart about adding in running. When she took the classes, some of the times it was, run a minute, walk a minute. Don't pay attention to the instructor, but just do your thing. But use it as a place that you can get healthy again. So that's also another story that really sticks out to me. So, but yes, absolutely. I have a sweet spot for moms that tend to always put themselves last, and they don't.
Moms are rock stars.
They are. They don't want to spend
money.
Do you have kids? I don't. I have dog babies.
Okay.
But I love. I think moms, sometimes they don't want to spend money on it because they feel like they're being selfish or of their time. But then they realize they're so much happier when they do it, and happier and healthier, so they can be a better mom. So I love that. Definitely have a sweet spot for that.
How about some props? You ready for some?
Okay.
This is from, is it Amanda Blondo?
Okay.
She says, "Hi, Ann.
Hey, Amanda.
Formula Fitness really helped me to increase my speed and to avoid injury. Plus, it's such a fun place to work out and is a great community of people. I absolutely love going there." How's that make you feel?
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think bringing the fun to
So important.
So
Yeah,
important, and
yeah.
runners in particular. I've been there myself.
Because it can be a grind.
You have these goals that you really want to, you want to get better, and sometimes it becomes very serious. It becomes about what your watch says, what your splits were, how many miles I ran this week, and people forget to have fun, and if you're not having fun, you're gonna be just falling short of what you could actually accomplish. So I like it always being a place where, yes, we're going to work hard, but like we're also going to have fun at the same time. So I love that she said she had fun.
Tim Collier says, "Ann and Jason are the absolute best." Any comments you'd like to relay, put them in the stream. I will pass them along. This is an interesting comment. "Jerry, I love your show. I try to watch as much as possible. I love how you highlight local entrepreneurs and keep the content positive. I have a question for your guest today. She mentioned the running club with Random Row. Ask her, please, if you could, what her favorite, I think he means path or like route. I think he's saying route around Charlottesville for running, and why." Good question.
Gosh. So I don't know that I have like a favorite route, other than the ones that come to mind would be the ones that we do. So there's also another run club at Champion on Wednesday nights, and one of our employees, my good friends, James Walsh, runs that.
We call him Cool James.
Yeah,
I
Cool
love
James.
James
He's
Walsh.
so cool.
You know Cool James?
He works for me. Yeah.
Oh, he does? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah,
He's the man.
Yeah, I used to coach James a little bit.
Okay.
He's
He's really gotten hard into running.
Yeah, he's done a great job. A lot of PRs out of James, and he's doing awesome. But obviously, I've been
Such a small
to
world.
Champion Run Club. They do on Wednesday nights they'll do a 5K loop, a 4-mile. 5-mile loop, and I think now they do a 10K loop as well. So
Wow.
If you're looking for running routes and an easy way to learn some of those, that's a really good resource. I also know the 10-miler loop, which is I guess it's a little bit challenging, but that's a fun. Yeah.
Tell me that one.
I mean, I don't know. It's you could look up on the website. They'll have the course.
Okay.
But I'm not saying I necessarily run that. If I go for a run, it'll typically be kind of just like a little loop around the downtown mall and campus from the studio if I have a little bit of time. Otherwise, I run at where I live, which is Panorama Farms.
Nice.
Which is where the UVA
That's a beautiful
cross-country
area.
course is. So I'll take my dogs out. Our dogs are very active, need a lot of running. So I'll typically run there. If you're going to a place, I like Ridge Road. Ridge Road is popular with a lot of the serious runners in town. And then also Dickwood's Road out by the Miller School.
Sure, I know that one well.
Really, yeah, gravel road, which is really nice. And then you got Riverview, which is a nice bike path on one side. And if you cross to the other side, there's a nice dirt path over there. So in a nutshell, those are some of the sweet spots.
Doug Turnbull watching the program, giving you some
Doug.
props right now. Emily Callahan also giving you some props. Any
Hello,
comments?
Emily.
Put it in the stream. I'll pass it along to Ann. Another good question here. So this question means something to me here. I do a lot of mountain biking. I love to, like you, stay active. This particular person is a mountain biker that's looking to get into running. Jeff says, can you ask your guest if she suggests trail running and if that's good for your body as opposed to running on the pavement? Good question.
Totally. I am about a variety of surfaces. So trails will be softer than running on asphalt. However, trails can be a little bit more technical depending on which ones you choose. So just make sure you know what what the trail is like that you're getting into. Some can be very technical, and you could risk rolling an ankle.
Yeah, you're talking about like route and like rock gardens is the terminology in mountain biking. That's very rooty or rocky path.
Yeah. So you want to watch your footing, but no, I love trails are great, especially they make you work on more of those stabilizer muscles, which are really important. So, and then I will say our treadmills, we have high performance Woodway treadmills in our studio, and those are actually a lot less impact than running on the asphalt outside. So I think people are surprised to learn that actually running on treadmills can be a good thing in terms of injury prevention and just taking a little bit of impact off. So.
Andrew Jaspin, welcome to the program. More questions coming in. This one is kind of about treadmills here. Do you, and I'm going to paraphrase because it's a long comment. So I run on treadmills. I run outside. I run on trails. Run playing sports. This is what I found personally, and I'm going to throw it to you. I love, say I'm running around West Main Street or the downtown mall. Why I like it is I like the energy and activity of like running around the cars, like seeing the city that I love kind of passing me by. I'll be blasting some music. Maybe it's like some 90s hip hop or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like getting after it.
Yeah.
Sometimes though, if I do it like a few days in a row, I really feel the wear on my body, which I didn't feel 10 years ago. I'm getting old here. If I run on a trail, it's softer impact. I'm in the woods. I feel a little surreal, a little more, in touch with nature. It sounds so cliche and cheesy, but you get what I'm saying. It's not as impactful for my body, but I also risk like rolling my ankles where I'm running over there. Treadmill, I don't feel it. I'm still burning those cows, but I'm not getting maybe like the same rush or adrenaline that I would get like, say, running outside. And then like sports, one of the reasons I love playing sports is I'm so hyper competitive. It's like I don't even realize kind of like I'm running because I'm playing the sport itself. So sometimes it's easier for me to like do that as opposed to like, all right, it's 7 a.m. Let's put on the kicks. Let's get after it. It's cold outside. So this is the question that's coming in, and I'm paraphrasing for the guest. She wants to know, as someone who's getting back into the sport, do you suggest, back into running after pregnancy, do you suggest that I mix it up? What should I do? I haven't run in years, but I'm looking to do something better for my body.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, absolutely. I do recommend mixing it up. I recommend 2 to 3 days of strength training a week, just to support your body in the activity that you want to do, which is running. So you want to do something outside of just running to be strong and support that. So, and then in terms of running, absolutely mix it up. So the two biggest reasons for injuries for runners will be, one is repetitive movement, which is basically you're running at the same pace all the time.
Yeah.
That's repetitive movement. Number two is smaller ranges of motion, so running slow. So that's why I think people are actually surprised to learn that doing something like our classes can actually be healthier for you, because you're not doing the same monotonous thing all the time, and you're using different muscle groups when you're running faster. So yeah, I do encourage people to mix up the intensities, and you just can't do too much. You don't have to necessarily do high intensity every day. I recommend about 2 to 3 days of high intensity a week. But yeah, I would say balanced. You want strength, and then you can mix in a little bit of more speed and intensity work too.
So you may have answered this question. This is from Grace, who's watching in Crozet. She says, can you ask your guests how I can avoid the pesky shin splints that I get all the time? I get those too. Those are a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It is so painful.
Yeah.
The shin splints. I get them from running consistently or too often on asphalt or pavement. What do you think of that question?
Yeah, I think first starts off with your footwear, making sure you're in the right pair of shoes. And second of all, what are you wearing outside of, if you are running and that's causing your shin splints? Also look at what you're wearing during the day, the rest, like the 22 other hours of the day, or 23. Making sure your footwear is good. And then honestly, shin splints can come from a lot of things. Typically, it's probably biomechanics. So
what's that mean?
So looking at the mechanics of your running. So what I'll have someone run up on the treadmill and I'll just assess a couple things, like their stride frequency is very important. Optimal stride frequency is 180 steps per minute.
Okay.
If you have less than that, meaning you see someone that's like long and lopey, that's going to put a lot more stress up the chain.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Take, for example, if someone's running at 140 steps per minute versus 180, it's going to be 40% more stress at the knee joint. So making sure that stride frequency is 180, and I know a lot of the Garmin's nowadays have your stride frequency on there, checking that, or just an easy way is to just count in 30 seconds how many times your right foot hits the ground, and then times that by 4. So you can compute it easily that way. But I'll also, if I have people in the studio that I'm analyzing, I'll look at, are they landing underneath their center of mass? So shin splints might be something like maybe you're pointing your toes, maybe you're landing a little bit too far out in front of you.
Yeah.
So checking things like that. And then beyond that, are you doing the other things like strength training? But I typically will give people, if they do a consult with me or a personal training session, I'll look at all those things. I'll look at how they're running, how they're moving when they're running, but also doing other basic functional movement tests. And then I'll kind of give them some exercises that they can do on their own. And more often than not, I'm like, well, come into the studio and come in for a class. And that stuff over time should help, alleviate those nagging injuries like shin splints and other IT band and stuff like that. So
we got a lot of folks watching. We'll shout out some names. Christopher Eagle, the realtor, welcome to the program. Kevin Yancey, the good doctor. Rebecca Downey is watching from Charlottesville Direct Primary Care. Courtney Carroll, hello. Lauren, hello. You are getting some props right now from Emily Callahan. Ann and the whole Formula team are so awesome. They push you to improve yourself, but in an amazingly fun and supportive environment. I cannot wait to get back home and rejoin the Formula community. Erica Rogers says hello. Alicia Courts says hello. Any comments you'd like to relay to Ann, just put them in the stream. I will get to a few more here. We're 45 minutes in. You're crushing it. I want to throw it to you, and we segue to this often. Charlottesville as our home. I love Charlottesville. I can tell you love Charlottesville. I love to sing its praises. Charlottesville's had a tough go of late. I think that's safe to say. Charlottesville, what it means to you, Ann.
I love Charlottesville because it is such an active community. I love the outdoors here. I love the mountains. I love the community most of all. I love in just the 3 years that I've lived here, I feel like I have so many connections.
I can
around
tell.
Town. Yeah. And yeah, that's really special to me. That's probably what drives me is the relationships and helping people. So I love Charlottesville for those reasons.
So you got here in 2017.
Yeah.
Did you get here right before?
Maybe it was 16. I'm bad with my years.
So close to A12. August 12th. Mm-hmm. What was like?
No, that was a year before. We were here a year before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've been a little bit longer than that. What was going through your mind then?
I mean, just that it was a crazy day. I remember going into work for a couple hours.
You went into work?
I went into ACAC.
Okay.
And I had a couple clients that day, and then
I was there that morning too.
Were you?
Yeah.
And I drove home, and I was just shocked seeing the people that came into Charlottesville and like they were ready to go to war.
You're talking about like the machine guns.
Yeah. The shields. And So, and we were actually, I think we were building out our studio at the time. I know Jason was there, and I was telling him he should come home, but he kept working away. But yeah, that just felt like, I mean, obviously anybody that lives here knows that's not Charlottesville. And it was shocking to me when I would go other places and tell them I'm from Charlottesville, and people were like, "Oh," and I was like, "That's not what Charlottesville is like." So, so that was not a great day.
Keith Smith watching the show.
Hey, Keith.
He says, "Ann, you're my hero." This has got to make you feel good. I mean, don't you feel like your role in a lot of ways, and you're crushing it. We're 50 minutes in here. This has been so easy. And don't you feel like what you're doing in a lot of ways is like so much, it's like so much more than like being someone's like, coach. Like you're like in some ways like a therapist, like a friend. You're like, like someone that's like helping fix someone's body in certain circumstances, helping them become, like I said, the best versions of themselves. I mean, how do you characterize like what you do, and how do you impact your clients?
Yeah, I think you just put it great. I don't know that I could say it any better, but I love that. I love helping people, and whether it's I just know I need to sit down and listen to them and talk to them for a little bit. Sometimes that's way more important than the physical aspect. I want to be there for that, and it's just very rewarding for me. So,
I love it. How can we learn more about Formula? Or how can the folks watching get involved with classes at Formula?
Yeah, you can check out our website. It's formulacompletefitness.com. And for January, we're doing a first class free. So you can come in, take a class for free, try it out. We also recommend doing consultations with us. So I often, as long as my schedule allows, I'll do complimentary 20-minute consultations, and that's a great way for someone to get started even before doing a class, just to make sure you're doing the movements at least close to perfect as you can. And if not, I have some other trainers that I can also set you up with and do some movement assessments. So I would say take a class, check out the website, check what our classes are like. Most of our classes are a mix between running intervals on the high-performance treadmills and then strength training, but we do have some classes that are just running focused and some classes that are just strength and flexibility focused as well. So I think that you can also check out our Instagram and Facebook. Those are Formula Complete Fitness as well. So
cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. For those that are asking, we will archive today's show in totality on ilovecville.com. And for 2 weeks after today's show, we will syndicate the show across. And David Johnson says you're truly the best, by the way.
David, you're the best.
Yeah, David is a beast, man. He gets after it. We will archive the show on ilovecville.com, and for the next 2 weeks, we're going to syndicate today's show across the I Love CVille network, which is 17 Facebook pages, 17 Twitter accounts. We have the third largest Instagram community in Charlottesville and Central Virginia, I Love CVille. We have an e-newsletter that goes out every morning at 11 a.m. to 125,000 plus inboxes. Judah, was it over 126? It's right around 126,000 as of this morning. We'll turn it into a podcast on Apple Podcasts, on iTunes. We'll do all that by close of business today. We'll archive it here as well. I close with the same message every show. I ask everybody that's watching to please embody the golden rule. Treat the folks in your life how you want to be treated yourself. Very simple concept, the golden rule. But I think Charlottesville and Virginia and the country and the world need the golden rule more than ever. My name is Jerry Miller. This is the I Love CVille Show. Enjoy your afternoon. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
You were good.
Oh,
Thought you did. Awesome. One more thing. We got to take